So, bookkeeping basics, bookkeeping, everyone's favourite nightmare when it comes to running your business. You want to be out there making the money, not counting the money. Well, in this video, I'm going to give you some tips that are going to hopefully make it easier for you to do this. So stay tuned and check it out. So, where's the best place to start when it comes to managing your bookkeeping? Well, here's a couple of different tips that I'm going to run through. We'll start with the first one, which is basically make it as easy as possible to actually track the finances. And what I mean by this is get a separate bank account. So many times, even in the practice today, we're speaking to a client where they didn't have a separate bank account. They've been running it through their personal account for the first couple of months. This has had a couple of different implications here. So one, they don't have an idea of how much they've spent. It's going to be difficult for them to get all of this information through. They've got to sift through their personal bank statements, figure out, try and remember it's over a year ago now, try and remember what related to the business, what's personal expense. So that's an admin exercise in their own, and there's no way somebody else can do that. They need to do that as a business owner. Also, because of it's all over the place, accountancy fees are going to be more. We've got to do more work, kind of piecing all the puzzles together. So as a result, we're going to charge more. So that's my number one tip, is always try and separate out as much as possible. Get a separate business bank account. You've got Starling, you've got Tide. I say this a couple of times a day, is get a separate bank account. It's free for the most part, especially all these online ones, the challenger banks. They are setting up accounts free. It takes a couple of minutes online. Especially even if you're a sole trader going through your own name, you can't have this money going into your personal bank account. If HMRC open up an inquiry into you and you've got your property or sole trader income going into your personal bank account, you have to give them those details, and essentially it might allow them to ask more questions about your personal income and expenditure, whereas you can avoid that just by having it all in a completely separate account. So that's number one, is separate your banking. Number two, try and get on some kind of accounting software as soon as possible. So just keeping a mental log in your head, okay, yeah, I've made this sale, it's prone to errors. We are human, okay? We're not human calculators. You will forget things, and as a result, unexpected things can happen. You might not actually be aware that you're operating at a loss. You could think you're making a profit on a job when actually you're not. Likewise, when it comes to calculating how much tax you've got to pay, VAT, corporation tax, all of these kind of things, it's impossible to log unless you're using some kind of good accountancy software. What I mean by this is Xero, QuickBooks, Sage, one of those kinds of softwares where they've got all of the features you need in it. You can get your profit and loss account, you can get your bank feeds. It's all in there and easy for you to do and stay on top of. Tip number three, keep absolutely everything. End of the day, there's no such thing as too much information when it comes to business records. You need to keep detailed records of absolutely everything in terms of receipts, invoices, sales invoices, and if you're VAT registered, make sure that you've got a valid VAT receipt for absolutely every transaction where you're looking to reclaim the VAT. These are all the prerequisites that you need, because if you claim all these things now and the HMRC open up an inquiry and you can't even find the VAT receipt, or if you can't even find the receipt if you're not VAT registered, HMRC might try and argue that whether that transaction even took place, whether it was for business purposes, the amount of VAT claimed. There's just so many different questions that they could ask, and as a result, they could look to disallow the expense and make you pay more tax. So that's really what you want to be watching out for. And then my fourth tip would be review your expenses and income as often as possible. You've got to manage your money right. No one else is going to do it for you. Yep, you can outsource the bookkeeping, but you need to be in control of your finances, of your business finances, and review them as often as possible, at least once a week. If you are serious about growing your business and making money, once a week you need to be looking at your profit and loss, looking at your balance sheet, looking at your bank balances, seeing how much cash you've got in the business. Absolutely, you need to get that right, because if not, you're ruining your chances of survival. As a new business, I think only 3 out of every 10 actually survive past the first year. So you need to make sure that you're doing as much as possible to beat that statistic and be in that top 30%. So anyway guys, those are my top 4 tips. I hope you found this video useful. Do give it a thumbs up and also subscribe with notifications turned on. Otherwise, cheers for watching and I'll see you soon.